Hello, Heather here, and welcome. It's Friday, and instead of setting everything up and creating a YouTube video today, I decided that I would just go live. I'm checking out YouTube Live to see what it's like, and today I am going to be answering some of the questions that have been coming in on my YouTube channel as well as Facebook. So if you're just joining me, I am Heather. I'm a homeschooling mom of two, and this channel is all about homeschooling and motherhood topics, product reviews and curriculum and things like that, and things that we use in our daily lives, as well as day in the life videos. And so if you are getting a notification and just jumping on, thank you for being here today. I have my coffee right here. The kids are finishing up their reading in the other room. So I'm going to run through some questions that have been coming in from viewers. And if you have a question, this is live, so we can actually interact here. So you can ask questions in the comment section. I will see them here. And if you are watching this on the replay, welcome. Today I'm going to be talking about, or I'm going to be answering questions about curriculum and homeschool struggles and just kind of my advice to homeschool moms who are just starting. And I just want to say that if you are just starting, I just encourage you to take a deep breath, because I know that it's overwhelming. Almost every question that I get that comes in is always prefaced with, this is really overwhelming. And it is, and I totally understand that. If you can hear me, I think you can type in there and say, hi, Heather. You can do that, and I will say hello to you. And I just want to make sure you can hear me because I have a new microphone. I mean, look at this. This is like YouTube right here. Microphone? What? So I'm going to be jumping into these questions today. And if you have a question, like I said, leave it in the comments. You can either message me on Facebook. I'm over at facebook.com/Heather Torres net. And that is my homeschooling page. I can hear you. Yay! Good. It looks like creating Essence is on today and listening to this. And I know there's some cool filters and things you could do on here. I'm going to try that out too. Let's see. Ooh, I can make it go like documentary style. Ooh, that one's kind of cool. This is something my sister would do. She's very much into like the old like vibe. Let's see this one. Oh, I like this one. This is a good filter. Yes, for filters, right? Yes, I love filters. All right, so done tapping. Okay. Hey, Heather, we really enjoy watching your stuff. Awesome! I'm so glad that you're here today. So I'm going to get into some viewer questions, and then I'm going to be doing live Q&A also. I'm also going to try and not speak so fast because I know that's hard for some people to follow, but I'm just a go person. So here is the first question coming in. Hi, I love all the people saying hello right now. Thank you so much for being here. I've got my coffee. Yay. First question. Hi, Heather. I'm going to read this. It's kind of a lengthy one, but hey, we're all moms and we don't like to do it in like one sentence tweets. We are like about the content. So, hi, Heather. I'm a mom of a 5-year-old that's currently in public school. I would like to start homeschooling her starting with first grade. I'm trying to gather all kinds of information and it's very overwhelming. Yes, I know. It is overwhelming, right? So she says, you're taking the pressure off of me with your videos. Thank you. Oh, well, thank you. I mean, I'm not a know-it-all, but I'm just giving you the advice I have from what I've learned. So I keep writing down notes and looking up the books that you recommend. And I love that you've recommended Exploring Nature with Children. Unfortunately, I can only buy it as a PDF book. Do you know of a place where I can actually find it as a book? I'm more of a hands-on book kind of gal. Me too. I'm not really like a Kindle. Anyways, that's another thing. So her question is, I just love how you keep everything so simple in your schoolroom. Can you give any recommendations on how I get my hands on this actual book? Okay, great question. So in the world of curriculum, if you're just starting out, there is online info, offline info. So a lot of curriculum does come offline, but there is a ton of curriculum done by I call them pioneers of homeschoolers, the moms that have gone before us, that they have put things together and they sell them online. So instead of it being like a book curriculum that you get or from a company, these are moms that are homeschoolers that have put curriculum together over the years of their homeschooling, and in order to get that to us, they sell it to us in a PDF. So here's my recommendation, because I am a book person also. I am a digital person. I mean, that's literally like my job. It is on digital online. My husband and I own a company that is online. So I am an online person. But when it comes to curriculum and things like that, I do like to have those pieces in hand. So what I recommend doing is buying that ebook. It's an ebook, so you're getting it as a PDF. You can either have it on your Kindle, which is fine, or what I did is I sent that file to Office Max, and I had them print it and bind it and put a protective sheet over the front and the back. And so now it actually is a book for us. One of my girlfriends that is going to be starting it this year, she did the same thing. And I like that because then I do have the physical book in front of me of how I'm able to use that throughout our year of what we're doing. So if you are looking at all the different types of curriculum online, there is a lot of things that you can buy that they mail to you. And there is a lot of things that are just purchased as a PDF, and you're able to just print that off. So I encourage you to do that. If you have not looked at our, I think it's second grade curriculum overview, that one is where I kind of explain what Exploring Nature with Children is, and it is an amazing book. I love this book because she's put together, I mean, you could base almost an entire, it could be a core, really, if you wanted it to be, because she has poetry and she has, gosh, what else is in there? There's poetry, there's all the book recommendations, there's the exercises, there's some science thrown in there, there's, gosh, I know I'm forgetting things, but it's a really amazing piece of content that you can use as a guide in your homeschool. So if you are just joining me, welcome. I decided to do Facebook Live today and answer. So, and answer questions. The question that just came in says, what book? This is the Exploring Nature with Children book by Lynn Seaton. I will put a link to that below after of a homeschool mom that does more of the Charlotte Mason style. And so it's very much rooted in nature and the Charlotte Mason philosophy. And she put that together. I think it's like $12. I mean, it is like well worth the money spent on it. You could do it year over year, and it walks through the entire year in nature studies. We are going to be doing it every year because it just allows for growth in it, and they can get deeper and deeper. I really think that there is, I mean, I was not in education before, but I have read a lot about education and know that there is definitely a piece to kids learning and developing over the same things over and over. And so with us, with nature studies, we're going to be doing that over and over. So thank you for your question, Stephanie. If you have a question, you can ask it in the comments. I don't know if they're here or here or here. I don't know. You'll figure it out, right? So next question is, I am researching like crazy and I've found a lot of awesome things so far, but my main concern is that I can provide what I can't provide what my kids need. My kids are in kindergarten, 3rd grade, 9th grade, and 10th grade. So do you have any resources that would be useful to my situation? Ooh, this is a great question. And this is something I struggled with also when we decided to homeschool was, am I going to be able to provide all of this for my kiddos? You know, am I going to be able to be making sure that their education is well-rounded and that they become good adults, and, you know, all those pressures that come on this education, taking on their education? So the first thing I would say is, yes, you are going to be able to provide it. And the reason is because we live in 2017. The amount of homeschooling resources and support and things available to us is amazing, phenomenal. I mean, I think about homeschoolers that did this 20 years ago before the internet, and I'm thinking, how did you do that? Because I use the internet for homeschool every day, whether it's researching for support, whether it's today is St. Patrick's Day. Yay! I'm wearing green down. My shorts are green. Today's St. Patrick's Day. I literally just went on Pinterest and searched St. Patrick's Day homeschool and found our whole curriculum or our whole like lesson plans for today, based off of free stuff that other homeschooling moms and teachers have put together. So there is so much content out there for you in the world of homeschool. Now, to your answer of, so you have kids that are younger kids and kids that are older kids. And I only have 2, and so I'm just going to speak through one of my good friends, Ashley. I did an interview with her on my channel. She's with Ashley Williams with Grace and Grit. I will put her link. I think it's Grace and Grit, or maybe it's Grit and Grace. She's amazing. Either way, branding doesn't matter. She's awesome. Homeschooling mom of 4, personal trainer, amazing. So she has 4 kids, and she actually has 2 youngers and 2 olders also. Now there's not as much of a gap like you have. It says kindergarten, 3rd grade, and then 9th grade and 10th grade. So hers is obviously not that big of a gap, but what's great is that you are, oh yeah, thank you. Oh yeah, it is Grace and Grit. Thank you. I love her. I'm never good with remembering branding names. So, someone just commented about that, giving me Ashley's actual name. And I love you, Ashley. I love you, okay? So we're talking about how are you going to provide the needs for your kids, kindergarten, 3rd, 9th, and 10th. So first is you need to evaluate each individual child. So each individual child is going to have certain needs. You might have a great reader. You might have a child struggling in math. You might have a kid that's super into tech and technology and computer programming. I don't know. But you need to evaluate each child's needs. And then I would decide what you want your core to be about. So what that means when you're putting together a core curriculum is these are subjects you're going to learn together. Now, this usually is science, history, sometimes literature, poetry. Those type of things are things you learn together. And then you break it up by the ages of what you're going to do. So if, let's say you're learning history and you're learning about American history, you're going to do the youngers different books than the olders, right? The olders are probably going to be reading their own literature books, probably writing a report about it, maybe researching about someone in that era, right? They're going to be doing some really advanced reading, writing, and comprehension type things in those subjects. But your youngers might color a picture of George Washington or learn how to write America for kindergartner, right? So you're really breaking it up into those different levels. And there are some great companies that provide that information. One is like Ambleside Online, if you're doing Charlotte Mason style. Sunlight is a great program. We use Beautiful Feet Books, and I highly recommend them because they are able to allow the core to be around literature-based things. So really, you have to evaluate each individual child first and then decide what are you going to learn together and then what are you going to learn separate. So some people I would recommend looking up for information, because like I said, I only have 2, is Ashley, right? And then another one would be Homeschooling on the Hill, Candace. She has some older kiddos and a younger-ish. So she's got a range of kids. And then also Raising Clover. So Christy Clover, I'm sure you've seen her here on YouTube. She was one of I just love Christy Clover. So check out Christy Clover, Ashley at Grace and Grit, and also Homeschool on the Hill, because they have they have some different ages in their homeschool, and they put a lot of information out about how they handle the different age splits. So that is my answer to. Oh, I'll say that was my A to your Q. Yeah, I feel trendy when I say that. Okay, so moving on. If you're just joining again, I'm Heather, and I'm a homeschooling mom of 2 taking Q&A today. If you have a question, you can ask it. I don't know where the questions go. Oh, there they are. Okay. Using YouTube Live for the first time. I do Facebook Lives mostly on Fridays over on my homeschooling Facebook page. So if you want to do more live interaction, asking questions, you can there. And then also, just as a little plug, I'm going to be doing a group get-together online, just a mom chat online about homeschooling, where you pretty much just show up in your PJs with your hair up and your glass of wine or glass of tea, whatever you'd like. And I just want to meet you. I want to meet all of these wonderful people that are here on the internet interested in homeschooling. So more information on that coming soon. But right now I'm doing Q&A for homeschooling questions that have been coming in, and I'm be getting a lot of them. So I just kind of blocked out 5 for today, and I'll ask more next or answer more next week also. But thank you so much for being here. Let's see, moving on to question number. Oh, I'm sorry, there was a second part of that question. And it is, secondly, how do I keep myself in check and not lose my patience? Girl, if I had the answer to that question, my life would be a lot easier. Oh man. How do I not lose my patience? Well, we are a faith-based family, and so I did a lot of soul searching and really just giving it up to Jesus on the patience part, because I have a really hard time with that. I like things to get done when they should be getting done. And sometimes it's really hard, but you just have to know that these are moments you're never going to get back. Like literally you sitting down and reading with your child at age 4, you'll never get that back. And so just putting things into perspective, I do not always have a clean house. Like, look at this. This is what my room looks like right now. There's a pile of stuff from an event I went to last night. Did make the bed. Actually, I didn't even. My husband made the bed. My dishes are dirty in the sink right now. Like you just have to put things into perspective, because the reason we run out of patience is because other things are more demanding than the thing we're supposed to be doing right then. And we are discipling these children. That's our goal, right? Our goal is to disciple them through their lives. And so we have to look at it in the perspective of, when I'm starting to get frustrated with either a lesson or one of the kiddos that's not listening or, something, first I need to know, like, what's going on? Did we not get enough sleep? Am I pushing too much? Are they really just trying to push those boundaries and be defiant? Where are we in that? And so when you think about losing your patience, one, I ask for forgiveness because it happens a lot. I lose my patience. I yell. I don't really like that we don't get school done all the time, on time. Those things happen. Like, that's just kind of part of life. But one, just put the things into perspective. What is most important in the time that you're in right now with your kids when you're homeschooling? And two, are you giving yourself a break? I mean, your job is a mom and it is a homeschool mom, but at the same time, I'm Heather and Heather needs time too. And you need time also. So just really making sure that like those buckets are filled and that, you're feeding into yourself also through the things that fill you up. And then getting some separation from your kids is good too. And so I guess those are kind of my, pieces of advice when it comes to losing your patience or having patience in homeschool. So thank you so much for that question. If you have a question, you can ask it. I think it's here or here or here or somewhere on here, and I'll answer that too. I'm going to get through these 5 and then I'll jump onto those. If you're watching the replay again, thank you so much for watching. I love having this community here. That is why I do these videos, is for this community. I love that I can connect with homeschoolers around the world, people that are in the same life stage as me, that are doing this together and have that support around me. So thank you so much for being a part of this community here online. So my next question is from another viewer, and she says, I'm using Letter of the Week from Confessions of a Homeschooler. Love her. If you've not seen that YouTube channel and blog and all the things that Confessions of a Homeschooler does, definitely check her out. So this viewer is using her Letter of the Week. We use that in our preschool when we first started. It's a great program, but I'm struggling with how to actually teach my twins when one is a little ahead of the other. He is starting to read and the other one is just starting to recognize letters. Oh, great question. Now, again, I don't have twins, but I definitely have experience in one child that is advanced and one child that is right on par. And so my advice to you is, she's saying, I'm struggling with how to actually teach my twins when one is ahead and one is just recognizing letters. And this is what you do. You create a core. So what are you going to learn together? Are you going to be reading aloud to them together? Are you going to be doing poetry together? Are you going to be doing science together or history together, right? What are you going to do together? And then what are their individual lessons that they're doing? So one might already be reading. So during the time that's blocked out for reading time, that child would then read independently with you or learning how to read. And then when it's the other, and maybe the other child's doing Legos at that time, right? So you're doing attention with one, attention with other. And then when it's time for the other kiddo, you give them the same encouragement and the same time, and you start where they are. We forget that we're all humans and we all develop at different times. I did not learn how to read until later on. I was a struggler when it came to reading, whereas my sister was reading at like age 4, and we forget that each individual child is going to grasp concepts differently because they're unique and they're individual. And so, yes, there are guidelines for, kids should read by X age, but at the same time, hi, Micah, thank you so much for watching. At the same time, They are their own human being. And so whereas one of my children is super into numbers and can very much visualize and can do math in his head at, age 5, my other child is right on par of where she should be, where the system says she should be. And so that's something we need to think about as mothers and as homeschoolers. If you have multiple children, you know that they didn't learn to walk at the same time. They didn't learn to eat at the same time. One of them was probably a good sleeper and one of them probably wasn't. And then we get to school age and we somehow think that all kids are supposed to be like on this level, on this track at the same time. And they're not. They're kids, they're human beings. And so making sure that you are wrapping around your core together. I'm such a homeschool mom. Core together, and then the individual subjects, that is really going to help encourage both children. And also the second part of that is trying not to compare your children to each other, especially because they're twins. I mean, I definitely I feel for you, because that would be hard because they actually are the same age developing at the same time. Whereas a lot of other people aren't experiencing those things. So really letting them be an individual and learn at their own pace. And let me tell you, tenfold down the road, that is going to be something that's going to help their self-esteem so much because you poured into each of them separately. Hi, Rebecca. Thank you so much for watching. I love this interactiveness here on YouTube. So that was a question from a viewer. So if you have questions, you can ask them down below. I'm open to anything. I mean, really anything. So now we get into the next question, question number 4. Hi all, that's what she says. Homeschooling moms always mention socialization. Oh, I feel like that's like the dun dun dun, right? Like socialization. Okay, all homeschool moms mention socialization, but they never say how. That's true. How do you find other homeschooling moms and dads and then find activities for those kids to do and meet up with together? Is there a community of homeschoolers in my area, or how do I find them? I have one child, and that's really important to me that he socializes and is part of a community with other kids in different situations. Oh, I am so glad that you asked this question, because this is something that, like I've said in my other videos before, this is kind of like that elephant in the room when it comes to homeschool. Everyone's worried about socialization because of the perception that if kids aren't going to a place where other kids are every single day, that they then don't have friends, they don't know how to be normal in society, and those type of things. So this question about how do you socialize your kids? So let's take a step back and think about what socialization is. First off, socialization is stuff you do, really. It's I like to say interacting instead of socialization, right? Just when you look at the root of the words and what that actually means, we want our kids to be socialized, which means that they can be in society. Well, most kids, whether if maybe there is a situation where they actually don't do well in society because they might have a medical issue or a disability of some sort. Okay, this is live, people, live. So let me take that back. Interacting. How do you do this with your kids? You do it normally. If you are a human being that goes out into society, goes out into your community, you're doing this normally. So when saying that, yes, there are definitely homeschool groups for moms and dads. There are programs for moms and dads. And the best place to go for that is Google. I mean, I know it sounds really simple and easy, but when we moved from Washington to Las Vegas, I didn't know anyone else that was a homeschooler. And so all I did was I went to Google, and I went to Facebook, and I typed in homeschooling groups Las Vegas, homeschooling groups Nevada, and I just started my search down that road. And then it's kind of like a first date. I mean, it's really awkward the first time you go because you don't know these people, they don't know you. And so it is not the most comfortable thing to do to go to a homeschooling group, but those are your people. They get you. They understand what you're going through and the different struggles that a homeschooling mom or dad has. So that would be the first place I would say is definitely going to Google or Facebook and searching that. Almost almost every state, I mean, I think every state does. I've searched for a lot of people now. They have some type of homeschooling group or support. Another thing is, if you are a faith-based homeschooler, is Classical Conversations. That is a program in homeschool where there is also a group that meets once a week from, I think, like 9 to 1 or 9 to noon together, and they learn core subjects together, and then you teach off of those core subjects the other days of the week. So that's a great organization called Classical Conversations. And then churches, a lot of churches have homeschooling groups where if you're not faith-based, you actually don't even have to be faith-based, but they just seem to congregate in churches. And so definitely checking local churches in your area. Like I said, I'm faith-based, and so that's just kind of part of our lifestyle, and that's how I search homeschool groups. And then literally just kind of putting it out into the world that you are a homeschooler. Other homeschoolers, like, it's like magnets, because it is a different type of lifestyle, and we support each other in different ways than just being a stay-at-home mom, not just like being a stay-at-home mom. And so there's definitely that. Also, if you have like a children's museum in your area, if you have schools in your, like private schools in your area, a lot of times, or charter schools in your area, a lot of times they probably know homeschoolers that are there. And so those are some places that I would start with trying to find homeschooling groups in your area. Definitely understand the like priority to make sure that your kids are being active with other kids. But remember that what we're trying to do is build relationships with kiddos. We're trying to allow them to learn how to build relationships. And so a lot of times there are a lot of kids that don't do well in large group settings because they're not able to get that one-on-one friendship time with kids. So also remember that even just having a neighbor friend that comes over every once in a while, or having a church group, or having, a soccer buddy, those are ways of having relationships too. And so don't put the big pressure on yourself to be involved in 10 groups to make sure that your kid is being socialized, because that's not the objective. The objective of having your kids around other kids is to teach them to have quality, good relationships with other people, to find people that have same interests as them, and to really just give them the outlet that we cannot provide as parents. And so I would encourage you to look into groups like that, and find those outlets. I can tell you from experience of last year, we were involved in too many things. And because we were involved in too many things, it made our schedule very busy. And one of the values that we have in our family is that we want to take every day and make it special. And with doing that, we don't want to crowd in 100 programs and 100 places we need to be all the time. And so that is just my advice to you on that piece. It's saying I have a bad connection. So if you can still hear me and see me, can you just type in the comments just so I know? I probably have, I don't know what's going on. All right. Question number 5. And thank you so much for being here again. And I will get to the viewer questions in just a second. So it says you can still hear me. Great. Thanks, Micah. Oh, P.S. I just watched your Goodwill haul, and I'm totally going to Goodwill today to go find some new summer clothes. So thank you. If you've not checked out Micah's Goodwill haul on her channel, it's so good. So let's see. Last question. Hi, Heather. We just started homeschooling this year. Yay! Our daughter is headed into 2nd grade next fall. We started our math journey. Yeah, thanks. We started our math journey with Horizons, and we are continuing with it next year. How did your daughter like Horizons now that she made the switch? Great question. So if you watch our previous videos, we started with Matthew C, which is an excellent program, and I love how they do math. However, it wasn't working well for my children, and that's okay. That is okay to have a curriculum, try it out, and have it not work. It's totally fine. So we actually switched to Horizons Math, and Horizons Math is a spiral learning versus a mastery program, which is what the Matthew C is. Matthew C is a mastery-based program, and what that means is that you stay on the same type of math, so addition or subtraction or multiplication or division, for an entire year because you're mastering that skill. where I think that is definitely important that we master skills, my kiddos were losing interest in math because it was just a mastery thing. They were doing the same thing over and over. And so we switched to Horizon Math. My kids are also very visual learners, and they need a lot of colors. They need a lot of movement. They're not very good with just black and white things. And so Math UC does have a great program. I love that there was a math teacher, and I was very much encouraged to have that as my first program because math is not one of my strongest subjects. And so to have someone else showing me kind of like how to teach math was really, really important to me. And so Math UC was a great beginning program for our family. We switched to Horizons Math because, again, we wanted to do more of the spiral learning. So what it does, it's little chunks of different types of math equations. So like you might start out with addition, then you might move to measurement, then you might move to time, and those are all taught in one subject, and it builds on each other. That's the spiral learning of Horizons, and we are loving it. Now, the transition though from mastery to spiral did take us a few months to get into, and there was definitely some tears and some battles over getting math done because it was a new way of learning. Just like when you start something new, it is not easy. I mean, there's so many things that I think about when I look back and I'm like, oh, that was so hard to start. YouTube, I was like, oh, this is going to be so hard, learning how to edit, learning how to, make a video, learning all these things. And when you do it over and over and over again, you start to understand the process. And so that was where we had the learning curve, was understanding that process, going from a mastery style into a spiral learning style. And so we did make the switch. And I recommend trying out a curriculum, like give it a go. Don't just do it for a few months, because if you're always changing curriculum with your kids, one, there's no rhythm to your homeschool, and that can create chaos and no patience and really difficult situations. And two, these curriculums were designed to be done in a full year sequence. And so if you're only going 3 months in, that's like when you're working out and trying to eat right and trying to lose weight and only doing it for a couple months and going, ugh, I'm not getting the results I want. Well, duh, you only did it for 2 months. And so the same thing applies in homeschool. So sometimes you just got to stick it out, just like you got to get up at 6 a.m. when you don't want to go work out. So it's the same kind of philosophy when it comes to homeschooling. So those are my 5 viewer questions that came in. I've got a ton more on here that I'm going to look up. Okay, where are we? Okay, going back. Thank you so much, guys. Heather, we really like your stuff. Awesome. Hi, Jamie. Okay, sometimes if an ebook is copyrighted, places like Staples won't print it. Yes. So what you can do is you can print it home if you'd like to, or you can write to the author and ask them for release of liability for printing use, for personal printing use only. So that was a question that came in about the ebook that I gave the advice to at the beginning. So if you are going to be printing, that would be something to do. You can usually write the author and ask for personal permission rights to be able to be printed. Or you can print it yourself and then take it to Staples and have it bound that way. So that would be my A to your Q on that one. So someone asked what book. That was, again, I answered that. I love your interview with Ashley. I love Ashley. How do you know about homeschooling in other countries like Romania? I don't, Rebecca. And so I would then go to Google, the best website in the world, and I would research what the laws are for homeschooling overseas. I do have friends that live in Germany that are not able to homeschool because Germany does not allow homeschooling. It's illegal there. So I would definitely check and see what those options are. But also remember, as a parent, you do have the right to teach your kiddos anything. And so if they're going to school from 9 to 2, you can still teach them whatever subject you'd want in the afternoon or the evening, or or supplement onto the education that they have. So always remember that it's not black and white, it's not cut and dry. Like, you can always be teaching your kiddos throughout their entire life. And so that would just kind of be my encouragement to you in Romania. That's awesome. All right, let's see. Going through here. We're at almost 34 minutes. My goodness. Whew, that was a lot. Okay, suggestions for homeschooling a child with sensory disorder How would you balance this with having other kids you also need to teach? Great question, Laurel. So I am not experienced with sensory disorder kiddos, but I would suggest a couple things. One, I would figure out how that child learns best, because everyone learns in some way best. So do they need a lot of movement? Are they better with one-on-one? If you're going to take on the challenge of homeschooling all of your kiddos, so that's another thing. Do you need to homeschool all of your kids, or would it be best for this child to be homeschooled and not the other children? I am not a homeschooler that is against public school or private school education. I'm not against it. And so I think that every child should be in the best situation that they learn best in. That was a lot of best. So I would check that first. Do all of the kiddos need to be homeschooled? Second, get help. I do not homeschool alone. I homeschool, my husband homeschools, and my father-in-law homeschools. Right now, my father-in-law has the kiddos outside, they're playing. And so they're outside playing. But he did, because I was working today, he did the reading and the math and the history today. And so see if there is a way that you can either kid swap with another homeschooler, maybe be easier if a couple lessons were taught by someone else, or if you do have the support in your household, maybe your homeschool is untraditional. Maybe you school in the evening time, or maybe you school on the weekends and you have days off. That is kind of the luxury of what we're able to do as home educators, is we can change our schedules to what is needed. So I would just encourage you to get help, evaluate each child and see if they need to be homeschooled, or if that's what your desire is for each of them. And then I would then figure out how each of them learns best and teach to those kiddos in that way. So thank you for that question, Laurel. All right, I'm going to go through a couple more here. I'll stay on for about 4 more minutes. So if you have some more questions that you'd like to ask, go ahead and do that here. So hi, Heather. I want to know how to homeschool my young kiddo, 5. Great question. So Heidi, can you give me a few tips? Sure. Here are my first 3 tips. 1, definitely figure out what your state requirements are for homeschooling, because you want to make sure that you're doing all the legal things properly. So some states require that you keep attendance, that you have that you keep records of what your kiddos are learning. And some states even ask that you get certified. So you need to know what that is for your state requirements. Second, start researching different learning styles, but do not get overwhelmed. They are just styles, are just guides. You do not have to set yourself in stone and say, I am a Charlotte Mason homeschooler and that's all I do. Because that might be well and good for you, but it may not be the best way for your child to be learning. So I would definitely research the different styles so that you're educated on the different information out there with homeschool. And then number 3, I would just start by having fun, because what we're trying to do is teach our kids through experiences and teach them that life is abundant and that there's a lot to do in life that isn't just sitting down writing in a book. And so I would definitely just start by having fun and evaluate how your child learns best. Those are my 3 tips if you are going to be starting out in homeschooling. And then of course, watch all my homeschool videos, because I've got tons of information in those videos about how to set up a room, how to organize your homeschool. But I would just say, give yourself some grace. If you're just starting, it is not easy. And so give yourself some grace in those learning experiences. So thank you for that question. Let's see. All right, couple more questions coming in. Thank you guys for watching and being on here. All right. They're coming in. Okay. Okay. Suggestions. Okay. 5-year-old kiddo. I'm getting so much pressure. Okay. I am getting so much pressure to put my child that. Okay. I'm confused, Jamie, but that's okay. You can clarify that, or we can talk about it later. I would love to Skype with you if that works. I have a 10-month-old and I'm wondering, where do I begin with homeschool? When should I begin? That is a great question. I love these questions, guys. This is from Blooming a Baby. You start now. You're already teaching your kid. You're teaching them how to verbal. So I would definitely at 10 months start with just talking to your kid like this, just normal. Don't use baby talks and baby words and things like that. Read to them chapter books. A lot of people are nervous about starting reading their children books that don't have pictures and the language being too advanced. Your child will learn language from hearing language. That's how they learn. They don't learn language through reading or writing. They learn through the auditory pieces of it. And so start reading chapter books. Start reading fun chapter books to your kiddo. It may go way over their head, and that's fine, but they're learning language. They're learning tempo. They're learning exaggerations. They're learning questions. They're soaking it in so much, especially at that 1 year age range. And then 2, since you have a 10-month-old and you're going to be heading into year 2, I would start by teaching independent skills. So as they start to get older, you're going to be teaching them independent learning. So that can start with, let's pick up 4 toys. Let's count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So learning is just involved in your everyday life, but they are starting to learn some independent pieces to learning that's going to set you up later on for them to be more independent learners because you're not doing everything for them. So just know that right now you're actually already teaching them. I would start with the book, The 3 R's. That's a great resource for early education. It starts to teach you kind of the idea of how we already incorporate learning and how we've just kind of been told as parents that we are not capable of teaching our kids. For some reason, it's like they hit age 5 and we need to send them to the experts to be able to teach them how to do life, which is definitely not true. If you have an education background, I mean, if you've been educated, you can educate your child. And so just thinking about how we're already putting education in to our everyday lives. So that is where I would start with that. I'm going to take a final question. Let's see. Okay. All right. I love watching your videos. Thanks, Rose. I love having you being a part of this community. Thank you. I use your core and loop system and it helped me so much. Awesome. A great resource of how I even learned about that is I listened to the podcast called Your Morning Basket. You can find it on iTunes, and she is amazing. She interviews other homeschoolers, and so you're starting to see how other people do homeschooling, and she gives lots of tips about how to create a loop system and kind of what morning basket time looks like and how to make a simple schedule with homeschool. That's called Your Morning Basket. It's on iTunes. And she is amazing. I love her. All right. Oh my gosh, so many questions. I'm just going to keep going. You can exit at any time, but I want to give everyone some quality time for being here and just appreciating you giving your time to me today to answer homeschool. So I wish we had homeschool groups in our area. Our closest are 2 or 3 hours away. Start a homeschool group. I will bet you're probably not the only person that wants a homeschool group. So if there is not one, I would say pray about it and just put it out there. It does not have to be something big. It could be getting together with other moms and just starting that conversation and seeing if there's not one in your area, be the pioneer and make it happen. Okay. Let's see. Yay. Okay, let's see. I think that's all. Okay. Jennifer says, my 7-year-old is not motivated and I feel sometimes like I am dragging her through our homeschool day. Nope, I don't want to do that. Okay. And I'm dragging her through our homeschool day. My other 2 are not school age, so I think she is wanting the freedom. Any advice? Oh, great question, Jennifer. So 7 years old, feels like you're dragging through the homeschool day. I would say breaking up the lessons more. So you're probably sitting down, I'm just assuming, you're probably sitting down and doing homeschool all at one time to try and get it done, right? Because you have other kiddos that you need to tend to. I would say break it up. Let's sit down, we'll do reading, 10 minutes, or maybe you do blocks. So we're going to do these 3 things, and then this is what you get to do. So for my 5-year-old, we do Bible together as a core, we do history together as a core, and we do science together as a core. After those 3 things are done, oh yeah, EP snapshots. After those 3 things are done, he then gets to go and do independent play because he needs that outlet. Now, my 8-year-old really wants to go and do things that she wants to go and play too. So she does one more lesson, she does her piano practice, and then she gets to go play. And so it's just slowly adding on more things in a block. But when you think about it, I mean, do you like to sit down for 3 hours and just work, and just like be in that thinking mode? Their little minds need to have rest in between. And so really, maybe it is setting up a block. So this year, we only do history 3 times a week, and we do science 2 times a week, rather than doing them every single day. And then we have a homeschool group that meets on Thursdays. And so on Thursdays, all we do is Bible and history. That's it, because the rest of the day is a homeschool group that is getting out there, that is playing, that is learning. And then we just do family reading in the evening time as just a normal thing that we do on Thursdays. And so I would just suggest that maybe make it fun, or take a week off, or, just throw in some things that are just slightly different than what you normally do, and see if that changes kind of what the atmosphere is in your homeschool. And then think about, what is the attitude you're bringing to it? If you have a child that you are homeschooling and they are just every single day, are you coming to the table with that same attitude, or are you coming with new, fresh ideas that can help to enlighten them in that journey? So thank you so much for that question. Oh my goodness, you guys are awesome. The questions coming in right now. I love it. Okay, hey, what educational toys would you recommend for a 4-year-old boy? Mostly playing, but learning. I like your videos. Great question, Norma. So we are, I really don't like using the term like minimalist, because it's kind of a trendy thing right now, but we basically have like no toys. And the reason for that is because we let our kids play with just things that are in the house. So 4 years old, a lot of times there are toys that are all about like sounds and noise, and it's very stimulating. And research has shown actually that those toys aren't actually teaching our children anything. They're just overly stimulating their brain, which is getting them all fired up, which is making nap times difficult. It's like tons and tons of things about. So I think I read that in Mindless Matters, I think is what it's called. I'll look at the book. It's in my library. So anyways, educational toys, 4-year-old boy. Things that allow for creativity and that are open-ended toys. So what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is blocks. Okay, wooden blocks can be made into whatever their imagination desires, right? So open-ended play. Rocks, twigs, kitchen things. So giving them their own, spoons and plates and things like that they're able to do things and imagine. Now, my son at 4 years old was like super into Paw Patrol. We gave him 2 Paw Patrols. We didn't buy the whole set of Paw Patrols. We gave him 2 because when little kids have too many choices, they actually don't play with any of those things. So you'll notice like when a kid gets a toy in a box, they're way more interested in the box because it's open-end play versus the toy that they have to think about how they're supposed to be playing with that toy. And so 4-year-old, I would definitely just recommend a lot of movement things. So even things like, toy-wise, like I said, blocks, books, cups, super simple things. We did have a train set that we got at IKEA. He really liked that because he could put that together. That's not really open-ended, but he could design it however he wanted. So that was kind of open-ended. And then, kind of at that age, it really is just about experience. So letting them get dirty, letting them play outside, letting them, do those things, that actually is going to be better play for them than toys are. And so that's kind of my advice on toys, how we did it with toys in our family, how we still do it. Now, let's see, what toys do we have? I don't even know what toys we have. We have Legos. We do Legos a lot. They can do Legos at that age, 4. And then my daughter has 1 doll. Maybe she might have 2 now. 2 dolls, and then we have blocks, and those are like the only toys we have at our house. We have art supplies, we have a backyard, we have that's pretty much what we do, and they are, that's great. So that would be my question about educational toys. Also, we are a technology family, so we do believe that technology does, is There's definitely controversy on technology and kids. We only do technology for learning games only. No death. So if someone dies in the game, we don't play that because that's simulating a part of their brain and there's research in that. So we do like learning how to tell time. We do like match your ABCs, letter sounds, educational. Those are the only, we do things like solitaire and bingo and, you know, like those type of things for tablet time. And we limit it to on Saturdays, they get it for 30 minutes. And we've definitely grown into that. I was definitely a parent that gave my iPhone to my kid all the time, and we were having behavioral issues. And so the first thing I did was completely eliminate the iPhone, and 80% of our behavior issues were eliminated with that. Now, there was also 2 weeks of like death screams because they were throwing huge tantrums by not having electronics. So there was that detoxing that had to happen. But since then, we just say, and they ask all the time, and we just say, no, not electronic time. Go play with your toys. We also have the thing in our family too that if you can't find something to do, like I'm bored, if you can't find something to do, I will find something for you to clean. And that seems to work really well too. All right, so I'm hitting 50 minutes, guys. So I am going to, I forgot to say, I also checked Amazon and different shops here and Google. I've got some, although can you recommend some more? I'm not sure what you're asking for, Norma, so put that in there. Thanks for a great video. Yes, Pam Barnhill, that's her name. She does ED Snapshots podcast as well as This Morning Basket, and she's going to be coming on this channel. And so Pam is going to be coming on for an interview over here. So I just want to say thanks, guys. Thank you so much for being a part of this homeschool community. I am here to answer any questions that you have. I am not one-sided. I'm definitely open to interacting. And so I want to interact with you as much as I can. So I'm going to be setting up a Google Hangout where 10 of us can get together online and just chat and get to know each other and form an online community for homeschoolers. So be looking out for information about that if you'd like to be a part of that. And let's see, what else? I do Facebook Lives over on Facebook. That's Heather Torres Net is the / Heather Torres Net. That is my homeschool channel or my homeschool page over on Facebook. I'm switching from my personal page to that homeschool page because it gives different business analysis and things like that. So anyways, thank you so much for being here, and I will catch you guys next time. Bye.